You all know Answers in Genesis, right? Sure, everybody knows Answers in Genesis that's in this community, right? Anybody, especially people who are coming out of religion, people who are engaged in the like the young Earth anti-evolution debate stuff, are very familiar with Answers in Genesis. That's where a lot of these homeschooling programs are citing their research and citing their curriculum from. So we are actually going to be exploring that today. And sorry for I always have a little bit of tangent at the beginning of this because I'm got feelers in the creationist community too. It just comes natural to me to want to do like a housekeeping of any drama that happens over there too, because I do like to keep tabs on the people that are wanting to execute me. Not that. Why did you pick that? That's not what we wanted. That was my camera. Snap camera. Yeah, the snap camera doesn't even work anymore. I had, like, when I did the cat video thing last week, I was gonna do cat eyes, and the snap camera doesn't work anymore. It just does a straight capture. Boo. Anyway, yeah, here we are. This is Answers Kids, or Kids Answers. And it has a video section, and we're going to kind of explore it a bit. But let's look it over first. Let's look at this site and see what we have. So kid mode is on. There's like a kid mode toggle at the top. This will turn off kid mode. Are you 13 or older? No, we're not going to mess with that right now. I want to look at this as if I was a child, okay? I want to see how, when a kid comes to Kids Answers, what kind of experience they have. So they got their homeschooling curriculum right on their desk in front of them. Got their homeschooling curriculum that their mom got in the mail or printed off from the website or however they're doing it now. I know back when I was exposed to this, that that it was mailed to you in big envelopes, because my first wife, when she was in high school, she did it this way. So we have and they now send you to websites and things like this to get your answers, kids answers, which sounds like legitimate. There's nothing about this that, other than this being Answers in Genesis, when you're keying it in, nothing about this right now so far seems off from any other kids educational hub. One pilot episode: Jumpers, Emperor Penguins, Backyard Variety, Chameleon. And then we got see more on that. And you got worldview videos. So these are animal videos. These are worldview videos. Acquire from Uganda, Dominican Republic. Why do we look different? Jewels of the Jungle excerpt. Okay, and evolution videos. There's that. Why do we look different? How old is the universe? Scopes trial, the building blocks of life. Then we have the video series, Mystery Island mission moments, Mystery Island songs, Mystery Island daily drama, Kids Answers with Buddy Davis. So what's this Mystery Island series thing, I wonder? Science videos, Flood in the Stars, Seven Seas, the Grand Canyon Formation, Cave Formation, and a Young Earth. Okay, there's the first time in any of these that I've seen a reference to like Young Earth or anything like that so far. So we got all the way down to here before they started with the non-uniformitarian or whatever position that they hold. So yeah, Doctor. I had to put my glasses on, I guess. Dr. Silvestru And then we have dissecting a sheep's heart. Creation videos. Okay, now we get the first mention of God, right? About let's see, we're about halfway down over here on the scroll bar. You all can't see it because the way I have this set up, but we're about halfway down the page, and we finally got a mention of God. Did God use the same design for humans as monkeys? When God created the earth, were the trees fully grown, or were the trees, or were they baby trees? Okay, so that's an interesting question. Why did God make the week 7 days long? Why was the first person God created a boy? Age of the Earth videos. How old is the Earth? Universe? Mount St. Helen? Why shouldn't Christians accept millions of years? Check out the radiometric dating. Do Muslims and Christians worship the same God? Excerpts from Wretched with Todd Friel. Oh God, they put Wretched Radio on here. Todd Friel should not be preaching to children. Todd Friel is a hate preacher, right? He's like very anti minority groups, or especially the queer community. I think he's like a hate preacher against gay rights, against trans rights and all that. So they got Todd Friel. And Todd Friel has a buttery voice, but he's not. Oh, thank you, James Apperson. I'm looking forward to it as well. Time Lab, Wild Family Mission Moments, Made in God's Image, Common Designer. We got Bible videos, which I'm not going to do. Here's the Mystery Island series. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's something I want to delve into or not. Grand Canyon stuff. Nathaniel Jensen, of course, coming here at the very bottom. And can creationists be real scientists? Yes, depending on what field they're in. You can't deny the field you're working in, though. Like if you're a geologist, you can't be like, oh, but these rocks are only 10 years old, because that's the only way this can make sense. All right, I want to do why do we look so different? Or why do we look different? Let's do that one. It's a 7.5 minute video. Let's do it, team. We can get through this.
Why do we look different? That's a question that really, and I mean literally, hits home for me. Okay, so I told you I showed you a picture of my daughter. She's lovely, isn't she? We adopted our daughter Elizabeth from China, and so these are questions I have to answer. I remember when Elizabeth was about 4 years old, she said to me, "Mommy, when will my skin look like yours?" Okay, because she's much darker skinned, especially in the summer, than I am. And so I really am aware of this question and really have to, because every time we look in the mirror, okay, now I don't notice it so much anymore because I'm her mom. And I think it's funny when people come up to me and they go, "Are you her mom?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And
so this is Georgia, right? Georgia Purdom from Answers News. She is a biologist, as I understand it. So what she's going to be talking about here is basically like haplogroups. Like when we just talked about the star children, they tracked down what the parents were by the haplogroup. But let's see what Georgia says and how if it's appropriate for children about this topic.
And I think, oh, no, I know why they're asking that. Because we don't look the same. But see, I don't see that anymore, right? I just see her as my daughter, and I love her very much. So I don't see that difference that other people do. But it's there, and we have to address that. And children are very aware of differences, okay, between themselves and others. So it's important that we provide them with answers founded in God's Word. So are there multiple races, or is there one race? And again, how we look at this depends on our starting point. Do we start with man's word? Do we start with God's word? Because if we start with man's word, and which includes evolutionary ideas, then the races evolved in separate geographical locations over separate periods of time from different ancestors, and that gives a basis for racism, because the outcome of that is some can be more highly evolved than others.
Now, this is for children, remember, and she just claimed that the mainstream evolutionary model presents different ancestral lineages for each race of humans. That is not at all what the mainstream theory is. Races are not a biological class. Races are not a way of dividing biological groups. Again, if you want to get something close to that, you're going to be talking about haplogroups, which we discussed earlier. And there are haplogroups are varied in many, and they overlap, and you have multiple ones in your bloodline. Nobody alive today has just one haplogroup present and evident in their DNA. Now, race is tangentially, it is not tangentially. What is the word? I keep saying tangentially, and there's another word that I mean. It means that tertiarily, I guess, can be linked to race, but only on a very, very basic level. Most of it is based around culture and history, the way that you've interacted with your neighbors. That is going to sculpt what your group and how your gene pool and your descendants interact with your neighbors. You know, if you're standoffish, you'll isolate from them, and you'll both develop different phenotypical characteristics that distinguish your group from their group over time, because you don't admix with them. Whereas if you have a friendly relationship with a group, you'll admix with them, and you may even merge with them into a single people group, or to be seen from outsiders as a single people group, while inside your group you are seen as separate races. This is what, like comparing to how Westerners see sub-Saharan Africa to how sub-Saharan Africa sees themselves. Westerners, like someone in the U.S., would say, yes, everybody there is black, whereas someone who's actually from that area would say, no, we are this group, and they are that group, and they are that group, and this group is this group, but they have this group in them that live with them, things like that, and some of them are even still divided, and it causes strife within the communities, of course, but it's cultural and historical, more so than it is biological. The biological differences, though, are a offshoot of the cultural and I almost want to say geopolitical, but you're talking ancient people, so it wasn't even, what could you even call it, geopolitical at that time? But just because of isolating yourself and not having a interaction with specific people groups, maybe you have hostilities towards them, or bad relations for whatever reason, or maybe you have really good relations. It all comes into play, and so that's why history does enter into it as well. But no, the model does not at any point ever say that each group of humans came from their own distinct line of primate ancestors. That's not how any of this works. Welcome, Dick Dawson. Thank you for showing up. And Carol's here. Hey, hey.
A lot of times they won't tell you that outcome, but that is the outcome of that. And again, just to emphasize this whole issue of starting points with our children. I keep showing slides like this because it's so important to understand that.
So wait, is this for the children or the parents? Because this is in the kids section. This is for kids to watch. This is not for parents. And you just told the kids that the current scientific model is racist, is like multi origin theory, and that's not at all.
This is an issue. We need to show them that what we believe about the world strongly depends on our worldview, on our presuppositions, on our starting points. What are our beliefs about reality? And that starting with man's authority and reasoning apart from God won't give us the truth. We have to start with God's word to arrive at the truth. And we have to help them understand that. So what do we believe about the issue of race?
So man's word is the Bible too, though, because it's interpretation. You can say it's divinely inspired, and that's fine, and you can present evidence. But once you start having to present evidence for your worldview, once you do, not me, once you do, then I would present evidence for my worldview and why I think that the evidence that you're presenting from the Bible is false, right? So you can't start with, okay, we're going to start by saying, yes, my Bible is true. And then we can talk. That's no way to move forward in the conversation. We're going to get stuck.
When we start with the Bible. But we have to take an in-depth look at those first 4 C's of biblical history because it's important. Okay, creation. We know that God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply.
God, see that you're not wrong, but there's not a model for race. I can't think of a model for race. When it comes to haplogroups, I think they try to keep it as open and just plain as possible. They're literally just categorized in like number. I think it's letter number format. So I don't think that there is bubblegum. Oh, Titan. I don't bubblegum. Yeah, I'm not surprised about anything that person does. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted by the side chat again.
And fill the earth. But before that can happen, okay, we have corruption. Adam and Eve sinned. As a result, all creation was cursed. However, they did fulfill that command because Genesis 5:4 says they had sons and daughters. The Jewish historian Josephus, he said, according to Jewish tradition, Adam...
Are we just going to gloss over the incest? I guess this is for kids, like you said, but you're talking about racism from the mainstream model.
Adam and Eve had 33 sons and 23 daughters. Whew. I think one's a lot. They had over 50 children, okay? But again, they needed to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. That was the command given to them. Well, about 1,500 years after fall, we see the effects of man's sinfulness with catastrophe. God sends a global catastrophic flood, and so we don't know how large the population was at that time, but it goes down to 8, okay? Because only 8 people survived aboard the ark. And after that, God told them something very similar to what he told Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Well, they multiplied, but they didn't fill the earth. They stayed in one place, which brings us to confusion. About 150 or 200 years or so after the flood,
So she's just like saying, oh, this is how the Bible presents it, so we need to take it this way first. I think this video might be like what the parents are supposed to watch to give the kids lessons. I don't know.
Yeah. Confusion. Now, what's going on here? And the people said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. They multiplied, but they didn't fill the earth. They just stayed in one place.
Speed,
they built
are you
the
for
tower,
real?
maybe something that looks similar to this. And
Speed, are you for real? Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
God punished their disobedience. He confused the language of all the earth. That's why we call this the Tower of Babel. And from there, the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. They did migrate out. They did fill the earth. And people with different languages ended up in different locations. And DNA, for characteristics like skin color, eye shape, within those groups became concentrated because they all were marrying each other.
I'm still muted, stupid double click. So this is not too far off from what what our mainstream model would show, right? Except for they're pretending it started at the Tower of Babel. And you never skip him. I know I was muted. I'm sorry. The we know that this isn't where the division of these different groups came or started or originated. This was far too recent. Babylon. By the time of Babylon, even the old Babylon, these groups were already pretty well established in the regions that they're in, right? But the way it's represented here is weird because seeing this group right here, oh, y'all can't see my mouse, can ya? Just the way that it's presented, it's not a proper presentation of how different human groups would actually be divided. This is the ethnical divide that Westerners have for people. This is what, as a like a person of European descent, that they would see the world as. And unfortunately most media presents it that way too, and it's kind of annoying. But there it is. I'm actually going to end this one right here because Speed told me that this was some kind of animated series. And I want to find out what that means, the Mystery Island thing. So, let's go. So it must be these kids. What kind of stuff do they have? Their songs, it looks like. Operation Arctic Song. Mission Moments. Looks like they're mission moments and songs. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to pick which one I want to watch. So give me just a second here. Arctic Wild Mission Moments. Let's see what that is.
Hi, I'm Libby Wild, mom to the Wild brothers. Our family works as Christian missionaries in Asia Pacific. When I was a little girl, my mom used to read to me. As I grew up, I spent most of my babysitting money on books to read. When our boys were growing up, of reading the Bible in our own language.
Ew. No, this is just like hot takes from missionaries. No, thank you. I don't think missionary work is a good thing. Good morning, Secular Pig and Mom. Glad to see you in the side chat there. I don't think missionary work is a good thing, so I think what you're doing is bad for the for intercultural relations between our societies in Western countries and these people in other areas of the world, because you come in with your notion that you're it's a white savior complex, right? That, oh, I'm going to bring my culture. Does it actually have a cartoon? I was hoping there was a cartoon associated with this. I guess not. I'm gonna go back out here and see, because I wanted to see what they have. If I just click on animal videos, if they have anything fun we could talk about. Ark Encounters zoo animals. Creation Museum zoo animals. The dog and its incredible sense of smell. Cuttlefish. What really happened to the dinosaurs in 4 minutes? For children from Hin Hiam. Let's do it. We're doing this, kids. We're doing this. Buckle in. Zip.
What really happened to the dinosaurs?
Many people are perplexed by the topic of dinosaurs. Where did they come from? When did they live? What happened to them? You see, when you dig up a dinosaur skeleton, it doesn't come with a label attached saying, "Hi, I'm 65 million years old and this is what happened to me." We have to interpret that skeleton in relation to the past.
It does, though. It actually does come with some. You don't know how to read the label. Doesn't mean the label is not there. we can learn a lot about the ecology that an organism lived in and the environment, and we can learn a lot about what has happened and what it's been through in its life. You can learn if it's had broken bones, if it suffered some kind of certain kinds of diseases, what it was eating, what the food that it eats, how they affected its teeth, if what it had in its digestive tract. If we find coprolites, we can see what these organisms were eating and what parasites they had, if there were insects or anything else in the environment that were consuming its waste. If it oh my gosh, there's so much stuff you can tell from finding dinosaur bones in the dirt, and all that you can find is that something died there is BS.
So where did dinosaurs come from? What happened to them? When did they live? I want to show you that when you take God at...
Why does this music sound like he's trying to seduce me about dinosaurs? I'm serious. Listen to this background music. Is he trying to get in my panties?
His word in the book of Genesis, that we can explain dinosaurs, and
like a very
observational
white
science
voice
actually confirms that explanation based upon the Bible. You see, the Bible tells us that God made the land animals on day 6 of creation. And who else was created on day 6? Well, Adam and Eve. And how long ago was that? Well, when you add up all the dates in the Bible, about 6,000 years. So, taking God at his word in Genesis, dinosaurs lived beside people about...
That's your problem. You're assuming that Genesis is God's word right out of the gate. But Georgia just explained why you do that.
6,000 years ago. And they were vegetarian to start with. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 tells us that all the animals were vegetarian. But then Adam sinned, and because of sin, everything changed. The whole of creation now groans because of sin. In fact, after the event of Noah's flood, God told Noah that now humans could eat meat, could eat animal flesh. But before that time, they're instructed only to be vegetarian. So sometime after sin, obviously animals started changing their diets as well. And the Bible tells us that there was a global flood, and 2 of every kind of land-dwelling, air-breathing animal went on board the boat that Noah built, Noah's Ark. Now, people often say, wait a minute, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dinosaur kinds. No, there might be hundreds of dinosaur names, and many of those names are given to different variations within a dinosaur kind. But when you actually work through it, there's probably less than 50 dinosaur kinds.
Bonk. Yes. No, there's more than 50 dinosaurs species, groups that are going to be distinct. Unless you're claiming like an ankylosaur and a stegosaurus are the same kind. If you want to make that claim, then there has to be some time for diversification. After the flood, in order to account for the number of species found, unless you're saying that the ornithoscians diversified before the flood. Did they diversify? Was there evolution before the flood? I thought everything was the same and just lived a long time. Anyway, let's see. And I'm gonna keep going with. I gotta do the sexy voices with this music. I can't help it.
The T-Rex type kind, the raptor type kind, the sauropod type kind, and so it goes on. And the other thing to remember is that the average size of a dinosaur is only the size of a sheep or a German Shepherd dog or a small pony or something like that. You see, some of the...
Depends on what period you're in, though. If you're in the Triassic, it's actually a lot smaller. The average size dinosaur is about the size of a crane or a heron. If you're in if you're in the Jurassic to the early Cretaceous, you're probably right. But sauropods at the end of the Jurassic really started to get huge, and kind of they would skew those figures quite a bit towards a larger size. I would say they would skew those figures to probably the average size of a dinosaur being closer to like a buffalo size or a moose size, just because the sauropods are going to shift those numbers way over. what verse references sauropod kind. When you go to the Bible, just look up Sinew, Senew, of his stones. And that's what they think is about dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs did grow large like the sauropods, but even they hatched from eggs and were once young adults, and so would not have been that large. Actually, there was plenty of room on board Noah's Ark for two of every kind of the dinosaurs.
I think that our homeboy probably thinks that dinosaurs are, or not dinosaurs, I'm sorry, sauropods are all one kind, right? I'm picking up what he's putting down there. Is that what you're getting from this, guys?
Kind. And I'm sure that God chose those young adults that were ready for the new world to populate in the new world. What happened to those land animals that didn't go on board the ark? They were drowned. Many of them turned into fossils. The dinosaur fossils we find, most of them probably come from the time of the flood, over 4,300 years ago, and therefore
so then there's
thousands of years old.
So then, did evolution happen before the flood? No, elephants don't have external testicles, Logan Fisher. Elephants keep their balls on the inside, like all afrotheres. Like a good little afrothere, they keep their balls right up inside, nice and warm, like a manatee and an aardvark and an elephant shrew. It's a key feature. That's why I don't think that behemoth was a elephant, but I also don't think that behemoth was a dinosaur, because diapsids, that's birds and reptiles. Birds are reptiles, but they don't have external testicles at all. That's a thing that is pretty specific to therian mammals, therapsids specifically. I don't know of any non-therapsid that has external testicles, and not even all therapsids have external testicles. Like I said, afrotheres don't, so you won't see a big elephant balls or anything ever. They probably think it's weird that other animals have big hanging balls. Anyway, yeah, it probably looks gross to them. like how we think of a baboon's butt. That's probably what elephants think of our balls. But like, ew, humans have these weird little saggy, wrinkly things hanging underneath their reproductive organs. Isn't that gross? Like, ew, really? Primates are so weird. That's how elephants talk.
Not millions of years old. Those that came off the ark started to spread out over the earth. And then, because of changing conditions, many animals have become extinct, including the dinosaurs. Really, for animals to become extinct is nothing new. We see it happening every year. Now, is there any evidence that's consistent with that explanation of dinosaurs? Actually, there is lots of evidence consistent with that. We have dragon legends all over the earth, just as we have flood legends. Flood legends attest to the fact there was a real flood. Dragon legends attest to the fact there were real animals called dragons, and the descriptions of those creatures in many instances fit the dinosaurs. And then there are cave paintings all over the earth done by people hundreds of years ago who drew animals that they were familiar with, and some of those paintings look just like the dinosaurs. And you know, there's even indication in the Bible of a dinosaur that lived beside a man after the flood. Go and read the book of Job, Job chapter 40, verse 15. Behemoth, the largest land animal God made. The description fits something like a sauropod dinosaur living with Job after the flood. We've also found in our present world dinosaur bones with what appear to be red blood cells and soft tissue still in them, indicating they can't be millions.
No, we didn't. Check it out if you didn't see it. Aaron had the one and only Miss Mary Schweitzer on his channel just the other day. It was pre-recorded, it wasn't live, but it was still really cool. And it was nice to hear the person that they cite refuting them, saying, stop saying this about me. This is not true. Because they got a conspiracy that she was shut down by the man, that Robert Backer, of all people, was like, girl, you cannot go around saying that we found dinosaur bones that are less than or that are less than 6,000 years old. So you're going to have to tell them that it's because this blood is 65 million years ago. And Mary was like, no. It's like, nope, you got to keep it up even after you're no longer affiliated with me and you're doing your own thing and your own work separately. You still have to keep up this lie, okay? And you can't ever tell anybody. Or what did he threaten her with? I want to know, because there's hardly anything worse of a threat to someone than to say you're going to go burn in hell if you lie, right? Which is what people like Mr. Ham do.
Millions of years old. You know, when people ask me what happened to the dinosaurs, my usual answer is, well, they died. But of course, they didn't die out millions of years ago. Many died at the time of the flood. And those that were alive on Noah's Ark, their descendants died out sometime after the flood. It's the Bible's history that explains dinosaurs.
So I wonder, does he completely reject, like, because some of the young Earth people will say, you know, these stories about dinosaurs in the Congo, the Civil War pterodactyls, that kind of stuff. Where does Answers in Genesis stand on that? Where does Answers for Kids stand on the Loch Ness Monster? That's what I want to know. That's the question. I didn't see anything in here about Loch Ness Monster. But, yeah, let's let him finish. Got 2 seconds. Yeah. Just that. Oh, yeah. I should just let him finish. All right. I wonder if we can search. Is there a search feature on here? No search. We can't search Loch Ness Monster. I wonder, what if we try to Google it? I don't want y'all to see all my search history. Hold on. I guess you just did. It's not anything interesting there, just the stuff that we're talking about tonight. But just a second. I'm going to pull it up over here. And we are looking for Answers in Genesis for Kids. And then we're going to do Loch Ness Monster. Got something from 2012, but it's not from the kids section. You all get to just watch me. You get to watch me look for ham evidence. Loch Ness Monster found. That's from 2007 on AIG. Yeah, we're not gonna do that today. If sometime in the future we can look at AIG and their claims about the Loch Ness Monster and living dinosaurs and stuff. So we will do that. But let's go back out here to animals again, because got about 10 more minutes I want to spend looking into this. So you can do it by different groupings too. 10 cursed creatures. Cursed. What are they cursed? Is this the curse from the fall? Why are they cursed? There's our bombardier beetle. I'm still considering doing a response to Tony Reed's video, but I still want to try to see if I can't get Tony to come on and hang out with me while I do it. Honeybee is one of God's sweetest designs. All right, there's a bug video. It's platypus, the mystery animal. 10 sin cursed animals that still show divine design. That's what I wanted to see. I want to see why they're cursed and how they're cursed. Oh, it just gives links to those same videos again. Amazing diversity. Gen X goes to the dogs. Every tail has a tail. Animal tools. Biomimicry. Say what? This takes us away from the kids section, though. We're supposed to be just in the kids section. Is this in the kids section? No. It's unfortunate how fast it moves you out of that without even clicking it, without even knowing that I was leaving the kids section of the website. I left. That's not good. So that's probably something you want to look into if you are on the team here. Let's see. What do y'all want? I want to see. Hold on, I'm going to put a poll out, okay? And I want you all to vote because we got time for one more of these little videos. And I want you all to vote penguins or chameleons was what we're going to go watch, okay? So I'm going to start a poll. And you guys are going to pick, okay? So this poll will be coming in just a second, and then you'll be able to say, I want penguins or I want chameleons. All right. So you guys decide. We're going to do one of these two and see where it leads us. I would like to know more about where Answers stands on cryptids, though. It's interesting. I know I've done actually some coverage of where they stand on aliens before, but I've never looked into where they stand on cryptids. So I want everybody to vote out there, chameleons or penguins. Looks like penguins are in the lead. My coffee's gone. I finished my coffee. But has Bugbot told me to hydrate and you guys missed it? Because I haven't hydrated in a while. I'm going to hydrate while you guys figure this out. You guys figure out the show because my poor writing skills, I don't have a response specific videos. I opened this up and I'm like, oh my gosh, jackpot. So I didn't figure I needed to pick specifics. All right. Let's see. I'm going to shut the poll down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull. No. Are you serious? It was not. When I started my countdown, it was not 50-50. Secular pagan mom bouncing. Yeah, if you got to bounce. Hope you have a wonderful day, a lovely day, my dear. Thank you so much for popping in. Okay. All right, so 12 people voted out of 25 watching. Sandy says flip a coin. I don't have a coin. Here's a quarter. All right. Heads will be penguins and tails will be chameleon, okay? Ready? Here we go. Tails it is. So we're talking about chameleons. So who wants to talk about chromatophores? Because I can't imagine that we're going to not cover that here. All right. It's a 2-minute video. That's perfect.
The chameleon is an amazing animal.
2-minute video with a 10-second intro.
The chameleon can see 360 degrees, like having eyes in the back of your head. And 2 eyes rotating independently, seeing totally different things at once. If you tried to do that, your brain would go crazy. The chameleon has a tongue that can project up to 2 times his body length. He instantly calculates the projection path, launches his tongue like a catapult, snatches his target with an ingenious suction cup, and snaps his tongue back into place, ready for the next shot. Amazing. It all works together, just as if...
I am in agreement. It is all amazing. I think the next statement he's about to make is going to be something I disagree with.
It was made that way. The chameleon's skin can change...
That's actually true. It was made that way. It got genes from its mom and its dad, and its mom said, hey, you're looking hot, to its dad, and its dad said, hey, you're not looking too bad either, baby. And they had chameleon intercourse, and little baby chameleon genes were spliced together, mixed together in the reproductive process, and out popped little baby chameleon, and that's how he was made, or she. Pretty cool, huh? Each individual organism was made by its parents through a biological reproductive process.
Color. Maybe he's cold and wants to absorb a little more sunlight so he gets darker. Or maybe he wants to cool off and not boil his blood. He turns lighter. Or maybe he wants to catch the eye of a lady. That's when he really puts on a show. The chameleon is truly a wonder of nature, but where did it come from? Did it evolve from other simpler creatures? Could small
Yes, it did. And they're actually, the lineage of chameleons is not like a mystery or anything. It's not like we don't know where they came from or what group they belong to, who their relatives are. Other iguanids also have a lot of these features. You can hold a green iguana, just a plain green iguana, plain old green iguana, because I've had them when I was a kid. We had green iguanas and raised them. We had big fenced-in cages outside that we had green iguanas in. Anyway, if you hold them and where your fingers are, they actually turn black under where your hands are when you're holding them, because their skin, like what it just said here, is turning black to absorb more heat. So iguanas have that feature. Iguanas have that capability. Other lizards do as well. I think we have Mr. Lizard out here in the live chat. At least we did a few moments ago. Now, Mr. Lizard, I think you are an iguanid, right? Are you a like an anole? I thought you were an iguanid, but do you change colors when people put their hand on you? Does it? Can people make black handprints on you by laying their hands on your skin? I just want to know. But there are other species of lizards who have similar features. Other lizards who have extensive tongues, not to the extent of chameleons, but the tegus, for instance, have a big globby tongue. Other iguanids have a big globby tongue as well. Green iguanas, again, the ones that I had as a kid, had globby tongues too. They just didn't shoot them out quite so far. They just go out a little bit, maybe a couple inches past their lips. So, because they were mostly herbivores, they would eat plants and vegetables most of the time. But because again, we have these big cages outside, if some grasshoppers or crickets got in there and got within range, and they would actively hunt it too. They would sneak up and eat it. But if they got into the cage, that iguana would stick its globby little tongue out, and that's how it would grab it. It was stick its globby tongue out, get within like this far of it. Tongue would stick to it, and it would pull it into its maw, and crunch, crunch, crunch. No more grasshopper, and that's how this type of feature can be present in another group, but not quite as developed as it is in this group. But you can see the relationship between the chameleon and the iguana because they have these correlations of physical features, right? And we can see that that this is something that was present in an ancestral population. Now, as far as independent eye movement, and that's another thing that's present not just within chameleons, but within all lepidosaurs, and their brains are specifically wired for it. The chameleons, what's special about them is that their eyes are in that mobile little turret, where not all lizards and snakes have that, but they do all have the independent, one side of the brain seeing one place and one side of the brain seeing another. And varanids and snakes are lizards. Snakes are lizards, by the way. Sorry if that ruins anybody's expectations. Yes, snakes are lizards. They have the forked tongue that also is wired that way. That's why there's two tines on the end of it. One tells them this way and one tells them that way. And they're picking up chemical receptions in the ear. So that all said and done, let us continue on with some AIG for kids.
Accidental changes over millions of years provide small benefits, and then these changes make even more amazing features, like a brain that can process images from two independently rotating eyes, or a spring-loaded tongue that...
So yeah, again, the eyes. So we covered that. The eyes are present in all lepidosaurs. I would hazard to say that they might be present in all the sauropodomorphs, but not sauropodomorphs. What is the word I'm looking for? Sauropsids, sorry, which would include birds. But I think that birds might have binocular vision or be capable of better binocular vision. The cool thing about chameleons is their rotating turret eyes give them the ability to do binocular vision because they turn all around, right? But they can center focus forward. That's why they're so good at shooting that tongue out. Hey girl, check out my do-lab. Yeah.
Shoots twice as far as its body? The origin of such complexity is a mystery to evolutionary science.
No, it's not. I just talked to you about how we can see a similar tongue feature in other iguanids that just to a lesser degree. But yeah, whereas the chameleon's got like a whole arm shooting out, other just have a hand and a wrist maybe would be a good analogy for the difference of how this developed.
But it makes perfect sense if a creator put all this complexity into the original DNA of the chameleon.
So is chameleon a kind then? What about other lizards that are related? What about false chameleons? Because there's false chameleons too. Are they in the chameleon kind? Or are they in a different group? What false chameleons would be? They're actually anoles, which I just mentioned in the side chat there. So are they have all this chameleon stuff going on, right? There's other lizard groups that have one of these features or some of these features or different features or developed differently. They use the eyes differently. They use the again, the iguana was a good example of the green iguana uses the chameleon tongue feature as a secondary predatory feature that's not dominant in its group. Doesn't depend on that to survive. That's just to pick up secondary nutrition to get the protein that they need because they're largely just vegetarians. Geckos have big globby tongues too. But geckos have big globby tongues, and there are other features too that geckos have that chameleons don't, that are wonderful and fascinating, like the ability to stick to walls, whereas chameleons have just grabby hands. Geckos can just run right along the wall and do as they please, and some anoles can do that too. There's other lizard groups as well, some skinks and things like that, which chameleons can't. So, but iguanids generally don't stick to walls, just in general. All right, so that was some dabbling into kids' answers. This is the stuff that was being presented by Answers in Genesis for Children. And it did include some stuff about claiming that the study of human evolution is racist. It included a section that claimed that that dinosaurs lived in modern times. Things like that that should not be allowed to be presented to kids as fact. So I am not in favor of homeschool curriculum. I do want people to be able to see what's out there, though, what's being passed to as part of a curriculum. So there's my Matt Powell air quotes, a curriculum, because it's not really a curriculum, it's indoctrination, because it's not actually teaching anything scientific. So thank you so much for joining me for Creation Watch today. That's some cringy stuff that we have people presenting to children as actual good science. Thank you for joining me in Creation Watch. Please remember to be kind and take care, and we will see you next time.